Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is that time of year. It is the Mae Young Classic, and the bracket has finally dropped. So it is also time for your TWitWoW Bracketology. I'm pretty psyched for this, guys. We've got 32 competitors. We've got 16 first-round matches, and then 8 second-round, and then 4 quarterfinals, and then 2 semifinals, and the final. And then John and I are going to finally predict who will win the 2018 Mae Young Classic. John, I'm super excited. I'm curious how excited you are, dude.
Brother, here's the beautiful thing. Because I feel like the first Mae Young Classic, I mean, it wasn't horrible by any means. I know we all thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's kind of the point. It was a test of concept, if you will. And now that it's gone from a test of concept to a proof of concept, they are just throwing everything at this second Mae Young Classic.
Yeah.
The talent they've got in this is fucking legit. And even some of the newcomers, like Casey and others, have things going for them that really make them intriguing despite being novices in the context of this tournament. So, dude, I'm fucking psyched, man. I think this is going to own.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Casey really is sort of the most intriguing, most exciting newcomer. But I also am really, especially after watching WWE Bracketology, very intrigued and interested in Lacey Lane as well.
Yeah, Lacey Lane seems like she's going to be a very exciting prospect to watch as her tournament story kind of unfolds. And I'm just excited about everything right now, dude. I think Mae Young Classic 2 is going to kick ass. And it may be the best thing that WWE does all year. I mean, I really have high hopes for this. And that's why we're here today, because we made our own personal brackets, and we're here to break them down for everybody. So I'm ready to get into this when you are.
Right. All right. So I'll tell you what, just to kind of help everybody follow along, if you're staring at the bracket right now, and I hope you are, because if you're not, then you're probably not going to be able to follow along as well. If you're staring at the bracket right now, we can basically divide it into 4 groups. The first group is the top left, 8 competitors. The second group is going to be the bottom left, 8 competitors. The third group is going to be the top right, 8 competitors. And then the final group will be the bottom right, 8 competitors. And what John and I are going to do is we're going to go group by group and predict every single match in that group until we have a semifinalist from that group. So we're going to start with the top left corner, and we're going to pick the first 4 first-round matches, and then we are going to continue predicting the winners from those matches until we narrow it down to 1 semifinalist. And we will continue doing that with each of the other 3 groups. And then after we're done with all of those, we will predict our semifinals and then obviously our finals. So we'll figure out who we are going to have go to the finals and then who we're going to have win the finals. Does that work for you, John?
That works for me, man.
Excellent. All right, guys, then we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into this first block, first group we have got. And I'm just going to run through the matches real quick so that you guys can hear them and maybe make some predictions of your own before John and I get to our predictions. We have got Meiko Satomura versus Killer Kelly, Ashley Rain versus Mercedes Martinez, Lacey Lane versus Vanessa Craven, and Tainara Conti versus Jessie Elaban. So, John, let's start at the top. Meiko Satomura got a bit of a hype package during Bracketology. We know from last year that getting a hype package doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to win your first round match. So I'm curious if you think Meiko will beat Killer Kelly, knowing that Killer Kelly is under contract with NXT UK, or if you think Killer Kelly is going to have that sort of I'm already here and signed clout and go over.
That's a very good question, man. I mean, I very much appreciated the video package we got on Meiko tonight. I mean, this was a woman who debuted with WCW at 16 years old. Like, that's freaking nuts to think about. And
it's not just like, oh, a 16-year-old starting to wrestle. It's a 16-year-old on a nationally televised wrestling show, WCW.
Exactly. Like, and I'm really glad you expounded upon that because people really need to apprehend the gravity of what Meiko did at such a young age.
Yeah.
I get that Killer Kelly is under contract with NXT UK, and I even kind of joked offhandedly with you before we went live that I could see Meiko being kind of the Jazzy Gabbert of this tournament, like the person that everybody expects to be kind of like a juggernaut and just steamroll everybody, and they get eliminated in the first round. But I do have here with Mako going over, and I'm guessing we're permitting for any last-minute changes based on discussion. But for now, I think I will stick with my bracket, and I will say that Mako will go over Killer Kelly, because I think because of Mako's credibility, they're probably going to want to feed her to somebody else to give them that legitimacy to even be a potential finalist and maybe even winner of the Mae Young Classic. And we know we're not even going to see the final until Evolution. So I think for the time being, I'm just going to go with Mako to win.
Yeah. Mako is a beast. I love Mako. And honestly, I've been saying for a little while now, and especially because she was the last person introduced in the Parade of Champions, Mako could be a dark horse winner of the NYC this year. Personally, I'm not picking her to win. A little bit of a spoiler there, but I am predicting her to win this match at the very least. So we both have Mako winning against Killer Kelly. Let's move on. Our second match, Ashley Rain, formerly known as Madison Rain, versus Mercedes Martinez. We already know Mercedes is in the Performance Center. Not so sure about Ashley Rain. I want to say she's probably not, but I'm still, you know what? Since you went first for Mako Killer Kelly, I'll just come right out and say it. I think that Mercedes Martinez, having gotten all the way to the semifinals last year, is still going to have a little bit of momentum here this year and going to end up defeating Ashley Rain in this first round match. So I'm curious what you think, John.
Personally, I hope you're right, brother. I personally love watching Mercedes do what she does, and that's beat people up. But, you know, Ashley Rain being a newer commodity while also being an experienced vet like Mercedes, you really can't go by, in my mind, okay, well, who's the better talent to go over in terms of like youth experience, stuff like that, because they're both veterans in their own right. I think that WWE is going to want to go with the newer experience, the more novel experience in Ashley Rain to WWE audiences. So I have her beating Mercedes, but I actually hope I'm wrong in this case because I'm a huge fan of Mercedes Martinez and what she does in the ring.
Well, and interestingly enough, even though you could definitely say that they're both veterans of the business, and I can even tell you Ashley Rain has been around since 2005. Mercedes Martinez has been around since 2000, and their ages reflect that 5-year difference because Mercedes is 37. Madison Rain, or Ashley Rain, is only 32 years old.
Right.
Like, she's a little on the older side relative to most WWE female performers, but in the grand scheme of wrestling, she's really not that old. And honestly, neither is Mercedes. But if you hold them up to WWE's standards for women, Mercedes is definitely on the older side. Ashley Rain is pretty much like maybe just a little older than average.
Right. I think I'll still stick with my guns in light of these facts, however, and I will stick with Ashley Rain going over Mercedes Martinez.
All right, man. Well, I guess that's our first big disagreement of the tournament so far. And in the second match, too. Wow. So let's move on. We've got kind of what I think of as this year's answer to Abby Lath versus Jazzy Gabbert. We've got Lacey Lane, who is 5'2", athletic, and she describes her style as lucha libre strong style, taking on the Mountain, the, I believe, 6'2" Vanessa Craven.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect from this match. I will say, because Lacey Lane did get a video package tonight, that I am excited to see what she can do. I mean, she was a part of the Team 3D Academy. She seems to have a very kind of explosive style, a bit of high flying in there from what I saw. So I'm excited to see what she brings to the table, and I'm personally going with Lacey Lane to beat Vanessa Craven. So I'm going to have Lacey Lane to advance.
Yeah, I actually am the same thing. I have Lacey Lane, just like Abby Lath last year. Abby Lath went over Jazzy Gabbert. I'm going to stick with the trend of underdogs overcoming Goliaths in this tournament. And that actually will rear its head later on in the third group. But for now, it's rearing its head in the form of Lacey Lane defeating the Mountain, Vanessa Craven. And then we get to our fourth match, and hands down the least experienced match of these four. Tainara Conti, very young, very inexperienced. We actually saw her earn her Mae Young Classic spot by defeating, I want to say it was Aaliyah, right, John? Or was it Vanessa Bourne?
It was Vanessa Bourne that she beat.
Right. And she beat Vanessa Bourne, and I think you and I both agreed that we probably would have preferred Vanessa Bourne be in it, or I even mentioned Aaliyah. But Tainara is in it, and her opponent, one of the least experienced competitors in this entire field, Jessie Elaban, and she also got highlighted in the bracketology, and I'm just going to come right out and say Jessie Elaban annoys the shit out of me, so I'm picking Tainara.
Yeah, I'm picking Tainara as well, and it isn't even because like Jessie annoys me. Like I really wasn't too bothered by her, but her whole character seems to be like she has a certain style, but she's also incredibly clumsy. And I wonder though. I did have to.
I mean, the way that they said it, it almost seems like clumsy is her style.
Right. I almost have to wonder though, and then maybe this is just me being a prick that's just watched wrestling for way too long. But I was kind of smirking to myself because I'm like, I wonder if they're just making clumsy like her defining character trait and her quote unquote style. If she's very botchy in the ring, or if she's genuinely like just a certain type of comedy wrestler. But either way, if she does go the comedy route and we see like a lot of clumsy stuff, I could see Tainara really like firing up, getting serious, and putting Jessie away. So I'm going with Tainara to advance here.
Yeah, man. Tainara, you know, I don't think either one of us are big fans of Tainara, but definitely got to go with her over the far less experienced, and I shouldn't even say far less, but just the less experienced Elaban. So then we can move on to the second round of this group. First off, I've got Meiko Satomura versus Mercedes Martinez. You've got Meiko Satomura versus Ashley Rain. And since I went first for Conti Elaban, I'm going to let you go first for who you think is going to win this match.
I do think Ashley Rain's Mae Young Classic journey will come to an end. I think Meiko Satomura is going to beat Ashley Rain.
See, and everything flattens out in the end. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Because despite us having different first-round winners between Ashley Rain and Mercedes Martinez, the thing we have in common is that it doesn't matter because Meiko will beat whoever it is. I've got Meiko advancing as well to the quarterfinals to take on the winner between Lacey Lane and Tainara Conti, which I, again, went with the more experienced competitor, Lacey Lane.
I, too, went with Lacey Lane, which would mean that I'm going to have her meet up with Meiko, as are you. So very interesting.
That's a really interesting match, though. Lacey Lane is new to the WWE scene. I know she's been wrestling a little bit longer than that. I feel like she's like one of those like 2 or 3 year types, though. Like I don't think she's been around for a long time. I'm actually going to look it up and see if I can find, 2 years. She's been wrestling for 2 years now. But if you compare her to Conti, who's only been wrestling for a little over 1 year, and then like Jessie Elaban, who's actually been wrestling for less than 1 year, out of those women, Lacey Lane is the most impressive to me and also the most experienced. And she's also, we already know, she's been trained by the Dudley Boys. She trained at Team 3D Academy. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that match. Meiko versus Lacey Lane is a very interesting matchup. They're very similar in height, but completely opposite styles. Because we already know Meiko is the type that will beat the ever-loving shit out of a bitch. Just forearms for days and uppercuts and punches and all the strike and the kicks. All the kicks from Meiko. Lacey, though, I mean, she says Lucha Libre strong style, but she's definitely going to end up needing to go more Lucha Libre against Meiko than strong style.
I would certainly agree with you there, yeah.
You're not going to out strong style Meiko Satomura, so you're going to go Lucha Libre against her.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I completely agree.
All right, so we've both got Meiko versus Lacey, and I mean, I was just kind of talking about their potential match, but John, I already told you that, you know, I went for, you know, I just went first as far as predicting Lacey Lane to beat Tainara. Are you going to have Lacey, you know, complete the upset, or is Meiko going to the semifinals?
I see Meiko going to the semis, dude. I see her.
As do I. As do I, my friend. We both have Meiko winning all of her first 3 matches against Killer Kelly. I've got her beating Mercedes. You've got her beating Ashley, and then Lacey Lane making it to the semifinals. So Meiko Satomura is our first semifinalist. That's exciting. I freaking love Meiko. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see her. Hopefully she makes it as far as we think she will, because that just means more matches from her, and that's all I really want.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with you on that sentiment.
All right, guys, let's move on to our second group, the bottom left-hand corner of your bracket. First match, Toni Storm versus Jinny. I'm going to let you take this one first, brother.
Oh, dude, this is a match where I'm rubbing the temples counterclockwise, not because I hate either woman. Quite the contrary. I adore both of them. I just hate that they're in the same match.
Dude, right? It's like, why couldn't we have like Toni Storm versus Jessie Elaban and Ginny versus Tainara Conti? Why'd you have to put the two inexperienced people that I don't want either one of them to last more than one round against each other, and then the two amazing women that I want to last more than one round against each other? Why couldn't it be 1-on-1?
I really wish it could have been, man. I really wish it could have been, and especially Ginny, because I love and respect Tony. Make no mistake about that. But Ginny's my girl. Like that's the queen scumbag right there. If Johnny Goodfellow has Kyrie, Johnny Scumbag has Ginny. And I really wanted everybody to see what she could do in more than one match, because there's only so much you can fit in one match, especially because this isn't going to be a fucking squash. It's Toni fucking Storm. And you want to be just as giving to the other competitor when they have, just as much, if not more, credibility than you do. And it's with a heavy heart that I got to pick Toni here. She was in the last Mae Young Classic, made it all the way to the semifinals. She got documented again on this one. I think they've got big plans for her in this thing. That's just me personally. You already see, like, on NXT UK, she's done big things for the brand. I could see Toni, as far as like the women's division, both in NXT UK and just more broadly women's wrestling in WWE, being a major player in the next few years. So with that sentiment in mind, I just got to go with her over Ginny, even though I'm hoping against all hope that Ginny pulls out the upset, because I adore her. She's great.
Oh, and you know what? I want to do a little bit of backtracking. First of all, I just wanted to point out the ridiculous disparity between Meiko Satomura and Lacey Lane when it comes to experience versus age. Because you and I always like to look at when someone started wrestling as a way to judge, like, sort of how much of a prodigy they were or are. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Meiko Satomura has been wrestling since 1995, when she was 15 or 16 years old. And she's 38 years old now. So I did the math. And Meiko has been in the professional wrestling business for over 60% of her life. Meanwhile, Lacey Lane is already 30 years old and has only been wrestling for 2 years. So she's only been a part of the pro wrestling industry for 6.7% of her life.
Jesus. I mean, right. Meiko is the quintessential lifer. We use that term. That's what that fucking means when you're Meiko Satomura. Jesus Christ.
If you literally just go by what percent of their life they've been in wrestling, Meiko has been in pro wrestling for 9 times as long as Lacey Lane relative to their ages.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah. So, and I also did want to just take another, like, less of a step back, but still a little bit of a step back to run down our first round matches in the second group. We've already talked about Toni Storm versus Ginny, which I still haven't given my prediction, but I will. Then we've got Rachel Evers versus Hiryo Matsumoto. Then we've got Mia Yim versus Allison Kay, and then Caitlyn versus Kavita Devi. So now we're back to current time rather than backtracking. And did you ever pick? Who did you pick between Toni and Ginny?
I picked Toni. Toni.
Okay. Just to be clear, I also am picking Toni Storm to win that first round match against Ginny. Unfortunately, I wanted more out of Ginny too, man. I was really hoping we would get to see her in 2 or 3, maybe even 4 matches. But the way the bracket fell, unfortunately, she's facing a tournament favorite in the first round, which is maybe lining up for Ginny to win the next Mae Young Classic next year. I guess we'll see, or at least do really well in it. I guess we'll see. Second match, though, we've got Rachel Evers returning from last year to take on Hiryo Matsumoto, or third, actually, Japanese competitor. And I say third because Io is at number 1 in everyone's hearts. And we've already talked about Meiko. So Hiryo is the third Japanese competitor. And I think she was the third one actually announced for the tournament as well. So, John, I guess you already went first for Toni Ginny. So I'm just going to say it. I actually have Rachel Evers coming out of this match as the victor, defeating Hiryo Matsumoto. And a little spoiler for the rest of my bracket, but Hiryo Matsumoto ends up being the least successful Japanese competitor in this tournament so far.
I actually agree with that latter assessment of her being the least successful, but not quite at this point. I have Matsumoto going over Evers in this matchup.
I just really like Rachel Evers, man. I just want to see more from her. I think she won her first round match last year, but it was less because they wanted her to and more because they just really wanted to get who was it? Oh God, I forget her name. The one that was in the dollhouse. I forget her name, John.
God, it was I forget.
Someone in chat's gonna help us. I know it. Someone in chat's gonna be like, "Oh, this person." I'm gonna be like, "Yes, Marty Bell." I don't even need someone in chat. Marty Bell. They wanted to get Marty Bell out of there because they hated her backstage, so they ended up giving Rachel Evers the win over Marty Bell as almost like a default thing because they didn't want Marty Bell around anymore. So she, first round, but it was more like by default. And then she lost in the second round. I don't even remember who against. It might have been Mercedes. It might have been Shayna. I don't remember. But what I do know is that they went out of their way to say that she was probably the most improved competitor in this year. So I really hope that she at least wins her first round match here.
I don't have that happening, but I like her as well. So if she does, I mean, great. I just feel like, that they're going to go all in on the Japanese talent that they've got this year. I mean, at varying degrees, obviously. So I have Matsumoto again triumphing over Evers. So there you go.
All right, man. Well, you've got Matsumoto. I've got Evers. That's the second time that we have diverged in this tournament predictions so far. But let's see how we do for our final two matches in this group. Mia Yim versus Allison Kay. What do you think, John?
I am so excited for this. Mia Yim, again, because the first Classic was great and everything, but it was more like a test drive. And now it's a proven concept. I see Mia Yim doing a lot better this year in a way than what she did last time. And it kind of starts here because I have her going over Allison Kay, a.k.a. Sienna. I know, well, at least she was in Impact is what I should say. And I didn't really watch much of her then. But, I heard good things, I guess. Mia Yim, though, I adore because, again, she was in the Mae Classic last year. I thought she really had great performances. I think she gave – didn't you even say that she gave Shayna Baszler, like, one of her best matches? If not her best match.
Dude, to me, the thing is with last year's tournament, my two favorite non-finals matches in the entire tournament last year were Shayna Baszler matches, one against Mercedes Martinez, the other against Mia Yim.
Yeah. I mean, Mia's fantastic. I'm really hoping that this tournament experience is kind to her because I also loved, and this is definitely on a more personal level, it doesn't factor into wins and losses, but like she was supporting a cause last year and she'll probably be supporting it again this year about like domestic violence and stuff like that and abusive relationships. And, because I think she herself has experienced such things, at least from what I remember from the documentation when she was in the first Mae Classic. So really just a wonderful human being, a wonderful performer, and I'm really hoping she beats Sienna because, again, I really don't have much of an opinion on Sienna, but I know how I feel about Mia. So Mia for the win.
Yeah, man. It's the year of the Blasian Badass, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, man. I'm going with Mia Yim as well to win here, taking up that victory over Allison Kay. And it's kind of funny because we've already kind of went over the two former TNA or Impact knockout performers, Ashley Rain and Allison Kay. In your case, you have Ashley Rain winning one match and then losing. In my case, I have both of them losing in the first round. So it could be a kind of an interesting, almost like a little bit of a political play with the WWE and NXT and Triple H having the two former knockouts lose in the first round if that does happen.
Right. Especially because they're fresh knockouts, too. I don't know how long Mia was gone from Impact when she participated in the first Mae Classic, but we know that Allison Kay and Ashley Rain are very fresh. So I can definitely see where you're coming from with that for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's get to our final match in this second group. Caitlyn versus Kavita Devi. I don't really want to beat around the bush too much here. I think it's kind of obvious that Caitlyn is winning this with how much hype she's been getting.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. There's really no need to debate this in my mind.
All right, man. Well, that clears up the first round for the second group. Let's get to the second round, and we've got Toni Storm versus Rachel Evers for me, or for you, Toni Storm versus Hiro Matsumoto.
And I'm just going to say that I have Toni Storm going over Matsumoto, so Toni Storm advances.
All right, man. Well, I also have Tony Storm winning here. So just like in the first bracket, we've got different people winning the first round match, but then it doesn't matter because they lose to someone in the second round anyway. And yeah, we've both got Tony Storm advancing to the quarterfinals. But who will she be taking on? Mia Yim or Caitlyn? I've got Mia Yim going all the way to the quarters and taking on Tony Storm. What about you, John?
I did. I know when we were discussing the aftermath of Bracketology that I was going to switch to Mia Yim. So I'm going to have Tony Storm take on Mia Yim. Or excuse me. Yeah, Tony Storm take on Mia Yim. And yeah, in that case, I still have Tony Storm going over in that match. So Tony Storm's going to go all the way to the semis.
I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. Tony Storm is also my sort of second group winner and my second semifinalist. She will, in our groups here, take on Meiko Satomura. So would you rather move on to the third and fourth groups, or would you rather officially predict the winner of this first semifinal match and see who's going to be in the finals representing the left side of the bracket?
We could predict the first semifinal winner if you're cool with that, unless you want to build suspense kind of.
No, that's fine. That's fine with me, man. We've got enough suspense as far as the actual winner of the tournament goes. So since you already said that you had Tony advancing to the semis, I guess I'll go first here. And between Meiko and Tony, it was a very difficult decision. But based on who I actually have winning the tournament, I ended up going with Tony Storm in the finals.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want you to know that I'm throwing in with you, and I agree with you. I also have Tony going to the finals, so we agree on that.
Wow. Okay. So we have a lot of sort of unanimosity in the left-hand side of this bracket. A lot of unanimous decisions. A lot of agreement between the two of us. The only two matches that we disagreed on were the first round matches. I had Rachel Evers, you had Matsumoto, I had Mercedes, you had Ashley Rain, but it ended up not mattering because we both had them both losing regardless of who won that first round match anyway. And everything else in the left side of the bracket we agreed on unanimously.
Yeah, man. It's really interesting to see us on the same side so strongly like this.
That's pretty awesome, actually. So let's move on to our third group now. We've got Tegan Knox versus Zatara, Isla Dawn versus Nicole Matthews, Rhea Ripley versus MJ Jenkins, and Casey Catanzaro versus Reina Gonzalez. So I'm going to let you go first for Tegan Knox versus Zatara, but I think this one is one of the more obvious with the way that they've been building one of these competitors.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Tegan Knox, seeing her spotlighted tonight on the Bracketology and how she's come back from injury. She's definitely got a more emotional story in this tournament, and I think that's very cool, and I definitely think that they're going to want to get behind that, so I'm going with Tegan Knox for the victory.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely with you on that. They've really been hyping up Tegan Knox big time, and Tegan is kind of one of the redemption stories of the 2018 Mae Young Classic, with the way that she was injured right before last year's tournament, even though she was supposed to be in the thing. And now she's back this year. And I've got her going pretty far. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't have her only making it out of the first round, because there's a hell of a story behind Tegan. And Michael Cole went out of his way to say that's who I'm picking to win the entire tournament at the Parade of Champions. So Tegan Knox is definitely someone to keep an eye on. But for now, we both have her winning the first round. But who will she be facing in the second round? Isla Dawn or Nicole Matthews? I personally like both of these competitors, but I ended up going with Nicole Matthews to win this because I feel like Isla Dawn, and then earlier on we talked about Killer Kelly. These sort of NXT UK only women maybe aren't going to do so well in the NYC this year, whereas Nicole Matthews, kind of a Canadian sensation, and they already kind of knocked out Vanessa Craven, who's one of the only other Canadian competitors in this tournament. I've got Nicole Matthews winning the first round here, man. How about you?
I have got actually, yeah, I do have Nicole Matthews winning. And I do think it should be a solid match. I'm curious to see more of Isla Dawn in a one-on-one context, but I think at the end of the day, Nicole Matthews will go over. So I do agree with you on that.
Yeah, so we've got Nicole Matthews versus Tegan Knox there. Up next, though, we've got Rhea Ripley returning from the 2017 Mae Young Classic, taking on newcomer MJ Jenkins. I actually, I find MJ Jenkins quite interesting, but I got to tell you, man, this Rhea Ripley, there's something about her. They've really been kind of giving her a little bit of extra oomph this year. They're even kind of like, I don't know if you saw the video, but there was a video on the WWE's YouTube channel where they had the NYC competitors try to draw Stone Cold Steve Austin blindfolded, and they give them 30 seconds to do it. And most of them did it, and some of them did pretty well. Most of them didn't do very well, but the one person that just flat out refused to do it and literally just wrote the word no without even accepting the blindfold was Rhea Ripley. So I'm curious where you're thinking is going to end up going with this matchup between her and MJ.
You know, dude, it's very interesting to me because I want to make perfectly clear I like Rhea. I thought she was one of the more interesting installments in the first Mae Young Classic. And I do think she's something special. You know, I think she's got all the tools to really, again, a lot like Tony, be a major player and contributor in the overall scheme of women's wrestling in WWE for the next several years. That said, I'm actually going for what some may consider an upset. I'm going with MJ Jenkins beating Rhea Ripley here.
Oh, so, wow! Yeah, so you're kind of going with the old like David versus Goliath thing, where last year it was Abby Lath, and now this year we've got Lacey Lane, and you've got Rhea Ripley losing to the smaller competitor here in MJ Jenkins.
Yeah, I'm rolling the dice on this one, partner. I'm very curious if it'll come up good for me, or if Rhea Ripley is just going to be like, don't bet against me, which I'll definitely learn my lesson if that's the case. But yeah, for right now, MJ Jenkins.
Yeah, wow. All right, well, this is another first round disagreement between us because I do have Rhea Ripley winning here. I really like Rhea Ripley, and actually I can already tell you, I guarantee you this also means that we're going to have another disagreement, but we'll talk about that later. We have Rhea Ripley, you have MJ, I have Rhea, but then up next, the opponent either going to be Casey Catanzaro, newcomer, former American Ninja Warrior finalist, I believe. She made it to Mount Midoriyama, with the only woman in American Ninja Warrior history, or not the only, the first woman in American Ninja Warrior history to make it to Mount Midoriyama, taking on Reina Gonzalez, second-generation wrestler from the 2017 Mae Young Classic. We already know they're both in the Performance Center, so there's not going to be sort of a natural advantage there. Wait, I'm trying to remember who went first where. I think it's my turn to go first, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is your turn.
All right, well, I'm just going to come right out and say it then. I got Casey Catanzaro winning here and leading to Rhea Ripley versus Casey Catanzaro, which is a match that I really can't wait to see. But this is also kind of the other match that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Lacey Lane versus Vanessa Craven, where we've got a much smaller competitor taking on a much larger one. Reina Gonzalez, 6 feet tall. She's a big woman, and Casey is 5 feet even. So similar to the Lacey Lane, Vanessa Craven thing, we've got basically a 1 foot in height difference between the two competitors. And I'm guessing it's probably like a 60-ish or more pound weight differential as well. And yet I'm still going with the underdog because that just kind of seems to be where NXT likes to go with these.
Yeah, I've got Casey going over here in what should be a very interesting matchup. I'm very excited to see what Casey can do because we've seen GIFs of her on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this video package, I'm like, man, I'll tell you, if she comes off as well as I'm hoping she will, you're talking about somebody that could really ingratiate herself to the fans and really endear herself to the fans and really become a fan favorite. Like, I'm not kidding. If she translates as well as I'm hoping she will, really look out for her because that is going to be one hot baby face with what she can do.
Yeah, man, she's got something special for sure because she's cute. She's got a really adorable voice, and she is one of the freakiest athletes in the world as far as women go, and she's easily one of the two. And the only reason I'm saying she's one of the two is because Bianca Belair exists, one of the two most athletic women under WWE employ right now.
And she's 28, which isn't bad. That's really not bad.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of youth and age, I also did want to point out Rhea Ripley, still 21 years old.
Amazing. Amazing. And Casey, even though she is like a bit on the older side relative to like the rest of like the youth movement going on in both, men's and women's wrestling, I still feel like she could be that performer where when you see her on the card, you genuinely ask yourself, I wonder what breathtaking feat she's going to do tonight.
Yeah, and even during bracketology, she said that she was most inspired by Rey Mysterio, and that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
although I will say, I want to correct something they said in bracketology. They said that Casey is the smallest performer ever in the WWE, or at least currently. I don't remember the exact wording, but regardless of whether they're saying ever or currently or whatever, it's completely incorrect because Zelina is shorter and smaller than her. Zelina Vega is 4'9".
Yeah, Zelina is a tiny thing.
Well, and the reason that I know that she's 4'9" is because Chris Wolf is 4'10", and Chris Wolf has come out and said already that the only adult competitor that she's ever been in the ring with that was shorter than her was, at the time, Thea Trinidad. Now we know her as Zelina Vega.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. Should be a lot of fun. And I don't really remember being too impressed with Reina because she's a returning competitor too, right?
So Reina was, yeah, she was in it last year. She lost in the first round to, I think, Serena Deeb.
I think you're right about that. Yeah. Yeah. I think she lost to Serena Spear, if I'm not mistaken. But the sooner we get her out of the tournament, the better to me, because I don't remember being that impressed. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers. It's not that I hate her. I'm just not, you know, she. Oh, and by the way, I was wrong. It wasn't Serena Deeb. It was Nicole Savoy. That's who beat her in the first round last year. Serena's opponent in the first round last year was Vanessa Bourne. So we knew that it was the Performance Center products, but we didn't know which one. But you know, Reina, and I haven't really seen too much of her in the ring, but what I do know is that she is not good on the mic at all. She's like, it's like she tries way too hard to be sexy while also trying to seem intimidating, and she fails at both in the meantime.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better, partner. So let's just hope Casey wins and gives us a solid outing here.
All right, well, then after the first round, we get to the second round, and you and I both have Tegan Nox and Nicole Matthews in this first match of the second round for the third group. So many numbers to keep track of. So I guess you're up. So who do you have winning between Tegan Nox and Nicole Matthews?
It's gonna be close. I actually know that Jason loves Nicole Matthews, aka Caltech Star. But I gotta go with Tegan Nox. I see her going over Nicole Matthews and advancing.
Yep, same here, man. Same here. I also have Tegan Nox winning here. Now things get interesting. Now things get really interesting because I get to go first here, and I get to tell you, I get to be the first person to break the news to you that I have Rhea Ripley defeating Casey Catanzaro and moving on to the quarterfinals to face Tegan Nox.
And I have Casey Catanzaro beating MJ Jenkins and advancing to the quarterfinals to face Tegan Nox.
So yeah, so very interesting that this is the first time that we've had a disagreement leak over into the second round, because I've got Casey Catanzaro losing in the second round. You've got her winning in the second round. So that's interesting in and of itself. So even though we don't agree on who her opponent's going to be, we also don't agree on just the status of Casey. You have her winning in the second round. I have her losing. So that's going to be really interesting. And it's, although, I mean, to be fair, your logic here is completely flawless, because it's, again, cases of like underdogs, because Rhea comes off as a giant. Like, it's funny because she's only listed at like 5'7" or 5'8", but if you just look at her, she looks like another 6-footer. She's built like a brick shithouse. She's got shoulders wider than most men, and she's got arms bigger than most men. But yeah, man, I just think Rhea is going to be like the chosen giant. She's going to be the one that just plows through everyone. And maybe it'll end up being a situation like last year with Jazzy Gabbert, where I'm just wrong right out the gate. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So now it comes down to Tegan Nox versus, in my case, Rhea Ripley, in your case, Casey Catanzaro. But I think this is going to be another one of those self-correcting situations, because I feel like we probably have the same person making it to the semifinals. But I'm curious, who do you have?
I have Tegan Nox making it to the semifinals.
Yep, same here, man. Same here. I've got Tegan Nox defeating Rhea Ripley in a hell of a battle. I'm really looking forward to that match if it does happen, or if it's Tegan versus Casey. I'd be happy to see that as well. You know, this is probably my second favorite. It's funny, we've kind of gone through these in order of preference because the last block is definitely the one that I'm looking most forward to. It has most of my favorites in it. But this one's a close second. Anyway, though, we both have Tegan Knox making it to the semifinals. So let's move on and find out who her semifinals opponent will be, according to us. Our fourth group here, the bottom right-hand corner of the bracket, we've got Io Shirai versus Zaya Brookside, Zeuxis versus Ariel Monroe, Deonna Purrazzo versus Priscilla Kelly, and Karen Q versus Zia Lee. So, man, I'm gonna let you go first. Io versus Zaya. Is this really even a debate?
No, it's not. Io rules the fucking world, and she definitely rules this match. She's advancing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Io's got this. Second match, Zeuxis versus Ariel Monroe. This one was a little tougher for me because I'm relatively unfamiliar with both of them. I have seen Ariel Monroe in one match, and it was against Priscilla Kelly, and she annoyed the shit out of me because she spent the entire match talking shit rather than actually wrestling, and it was just annoying to me. So I kind of come into this with a natural apprehension towards Ariel Monroe. That being said, though, I'm even less familiar with Zeuxis. I literally never heard of her before this tournament. But that's actually the same thing that I could have said about Princesa Suhei last year, and she won her first round match. So I ended up going with Zeuxis here.
I did the same, partner. I have Zeuxis.
Oh, you did? Okay, nice.
Yeah, I have Zeuxis going over Ariel Monroe. Yes.
All right. Well, all right then. I guess we can move on. Deonna Purrazzo versus Priscilla Kelly. This is another one of those matches, man, where it's like, why did they have to face each other? Why couldn't they, one of them face like Zatara or someone else that we don't, or Reina Gonzalez or someone else that we don't care about, and the other one face someone else that we don't care about, like freaking Jesse Elaban or some shit like that. But no, they're facing each other, which means one of them is going to end up getting eliminated in the first round. This is fucking Piper Niven versus Santana Garrett all over again. God damn it.
I know, brother. I feel your pain. Because, I mean, Priscilla, you want to talk about the whole youth movement we were mentioning earlier with Casey being 28, Rhea Ripley being 21. Isn't Priscilla Kelly also only 21, or is she still 20?
Priscilla Kelly's 21, yes.
So, like, goddamn.
But the difference is she's actually younger than Rhea Ripley because Rhea will turn 22 later this year in October. Priscilla just turned 21 in June.
So, Priscilla Kelly, hell's favorite harlot.
And the thing is, dude, this is a battle of youth because Deonna isn't old either. She's only 24. She was born in 1994. Son of a bitch. Why are all these women younger than me?
I know, right? Complex.
It makes me so much more secure when we talk about like Mercedes Martinez at 38 or 37 years old. It's like, oh, that's someone that should be a wrestler. They're way older than me.
Yeah, you're old compared to me. But yeah, I'm a fan of both of these women. I don't think I've seen much of Priscilla Kelly. I know I've seen one match of hers that I think was due to a Patreon request from either Cliff or it was
Cliff.
Jackie. Are you sure it was
Cliff? It was Cliff.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. So, but to be honest, I vaguely remember it, so this will be a good refresher. And Deonna, I mean, we've definitely seen stuff from her because of Patreon requests from Jackie.
Yeah, that was all Jackie. Yeah, Cliff was the one that he was like, because he's the one that does like I want you to react to this match and that match and that match and that match. And then Jackie's just like, react to this women's wrestling show. So
yeah.
Cliff was the one that had the Priscilla Kelly match, whereas with Jackie, she's the one that's gotten us a lot more exposure to Deonna because of the women's wrestling revolution shows that she's had us react to.
The way I look at it, dude, Deonna has the story going into this, and that's not a knock against Priscilla because she's got so much going for her. But she was spotlighted with the video package. And I know we said at the outset that doesn't always translate into a win. But when you look at the content of it and the idea that she had her stint, then she went away to kind of travel the world. In a way, she kind of thought it's kind of a similar story to what we're seeing with Drew McIntyre. And she says she's the master of the Fujiwara. I think she's going to be a bigger player, at least momentarily. So I see her beating Priscilla Kelly and advancing.
I like Deonna, man. I really she's really good in the ring and she's cute. She's got a great look. She needs to find a voice on the mic because we heard her tonight And she sounds unsure of herself when she talks. She sounds like she knows she's good, but she doesn't want to say it. Like, she sounds like she lacks confidence. And when she finds that backbone on the mic, I seriously think she's going to take the world by storm, because she's got everything else. If she can find the voice, find that backbone on the mic, I really think she's going to blow up in the best way possible. And I do have Deonna winning this match, mostly because I was somewhat spoiled. I wasn't actually spoiled by any match results, but Priscilla Kelly, like the day after the NYC tapings happened, tweeted, and I follow Priscilla on Twitter. She's one of the few wrestlers that I follow on Twitter, because I stop following people when they get to WWE, because then all their tweets get posted on Reddit anyway, so I don't need to follow them. But Priscilla tweeted like the day after the tapings, "Hey, I'm taking bookings in October." And I'm just like, what? Why? So I ended up picking Deonna here just to rip the Band-Aid off. Just get rid of Priscilla as early as possible if she's not going to win the damn thing or make it to the semifinals or the finals. So yeah, Deonna over Priscilla, unfortunately. And then we get to our final match, Xia Li and Karen Q. And you and I are actually familiar with both these women, again, thanks to Jackie, because Jackie has had us watch wrestling shows with Karen Q on them, so we know about her. That said, though, based on what they said in Bracketology tonight, I'm going with Xia Li just to win this match. I don't think she'll make it far, but I'm going with Xia Li to win this first-round match. They specifically said that she has got one of the most dangerous movesets on the roster, and that is something I want to see, because we literally witnessed Xia Li's first ever wrestling match last year in the NYC 1. How much progress has she made since then? Because she looked pretty good back then. Her match was against Mercedes Martinez, and she held her own for a little bit against Mercedes. So I'm really excited to see what she can do this year, and I'm hoping to get more than one match out of her, so I'm picking her to win the first round.
Okay, just doing my remarks in order. One, backtracking a bit. I was kind of smirking with you talking about Priscilla Kelly. Apoplectic Ashton is maybe low-key my favorite. That's just adorable. But focusing on this match, I got to be honest, man. I'll just say right at the outset, I have Karen Q going over, but I hope you're right in this case, because thank you for reminding me what they did say, like in the Mae Young Classic kind of breakdown, the Parade of Champions, because Xia Li, I vaguely remember her first match. I'll take your word for it if you say that she held her own against Mercedes Martinez. And the idea...
Well, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Mercedes is like the ring general and did everything in power to make Xia look good, but Xia didn't feel out of place in that match to me.
Right. So I'll take your word for it on that, absolutely.
By the way, I hate to cut you off. Can I just point out, how weird is it that the one first name in this tournament that is repeated, that we have more than one of, is fucking Xia, of all things?
Yeah, really.
The letters XIA appear as somebody's first name multiple times in this tournament. Xia Brookside and Xia Li. How does that happen?
I don't know, man. Only the Mae Young Classic. Only the Mae Young Classic. But yeah, I do hope you're right, because originally I was excited about the story of progression with Tainara, but we got a glimpse of it against Vanessa Bourne, and neither one of us were really impressed. So Xia is kind of like our second chance at bat, because I love a good progression story, you know, seeing the growth of a performer. So I'm hoping not only is that she's better and that like she blows our goddamn minds, but that if that is the case, that you're right, because even though I am picking Karen, I've got to be honest, I don't know how Jackie feels about her, and Jackie, you know I love you, so shout out to you. But I've never really been impressed with Karen Q in the ring. I've always kind of found her to be all right. I mean, to be honest, I always used to kind of roll my eyes at my friends that would never really give women's wrestling a chance and always found it to be boring. But, like, Karen Q is boring to me. I don't really find her entertaining. I try not to be that harsh, but I can't lie about how I feel. So I do hope you're right about Xia Li, but I do, unfortunately, have Karen Q going over.
Wow, John. I didn't know you hated Karen Q so much.
God, yeah, I know. And then somebody's going to be like, I bet you hate women, too. I mean, not really, no. I'm sorry.
You sexist piece of shit, bigoted fuck.
Yeah, don't you realize Karen Q's trying out there? You get in the ring. Listen, I just said that she's not really my thing. You hate everyone. But no,
I know that we're intentionally being over the top to just, satire or whatever, but I just want to say Twitter shitstorm summed up in 30 seconds right there.
I know, right, dude. That's why I don't get involved. And if I do get involved, I just go radio silent. Somebody pop in there just at me. You got something to say? 3 weeks later, oh, thank God I can come out again. It's safe. But yeah, Karen Q to go over. Let's move on to our next match.
Oh my God! What did South Park do? It was a witch. What was it? A witch? What was it?
Oh, a witch pursuit thing.
Yeah, witch pursuit. Yeah, there you go. A witch pursuit thing. God, I really, before South Park's new season shows, I want us to go back and watch the last season from beginning to end.
God, it's like a witch pursuit thing, Sharon. Go!
All right, so that's the first round of the fourth group. Let's get to the second round. We've got Io Shirai, and then I've got Zeuxis. You've got Ariel Monroe, but I've got a nagging feeling that it doesn't matter because Io.
Oh, well, I mean, let me correct you. I thought I said I had Zeuxis going over, and if I didn't, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, shit. I thought you had Ariel. Okay, that's my bad. So we both have Zeuxis, but again, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because, again, it's Io's world, and you're just lucky to be breathing in it for now. So,
God,
yeah,
the worst part about Io performing outside of her homeland of Japan is that we're not going to get to hear some old guy from just shouting Io every 2 seconds.
Yes, that'd be amazing. But yeah, Io's going over, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So then our second match, Deonna Purrazzo, and her opponent for me is Xia Li. You said Karen Q. Again, though, this is a situation for me where I don't think it's going to matter because I've got Deonna going over, and I'm assuming you do as well.
Yes, Deonna Purrazzo to go over Karen Q, if I'm correct in that. So she will meet Io in the quarterfinals.
Excellent, mate. Let's move on then to the quarterfinals. Io versus Deonna. Who do you got?
I think, honestly, let me just say first, before I get my winner, I think this will be one of the standout matches of the tournament if it happens.
Yes,
and
yes,
I am going with Io though to win in what should be just an exemplary bout, and again, probably one of the best installments in the tournament. So,
Io! No, seriously, that's who I'm picking. I'm picking Io.
Hooray! Okay, so moving on to our next quarterfinal matchup, which would be.
No, dude, we are done with the quarterfinals. Now we have our second semifinal match to get to. Or no, wait, no, we had Io versus Deonna, and we both picked Io to win. So yeah, we're getting to our second semifinal match. Who do you have winning? Tegan Nox versus Io Shirai. I'll go first here because you went first last time. I've got Io making it to the finals.
I have Io making it to the finals as well.
We made these predictions before the tapings even happened, guys.
All right.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't make all our predictions before the tapings, but we've been saying since long before the tapings, Tony versus Io in the finals, and here we are.
Now here, though, Ashton, because here it is, the ultimate matchup, Tony Storm. What'd you say?
Are you going to finish, or am I going to do it?
Oh, no, I thought you were going to do it. That's why I heard you start to do it, so I wanted you to finish.
It's Tony Storm versus Io Shirai.
The finals only on pay-per-view with the WWE Network for WWE Evolution. I think it's going to be an amazing final if it pans out this way. Here's where I have to give a bit of pause. Now, I have to apologize to you and to everybody because Ashton did ask me, like, John, do you want to make any changes to your bracket? But even I knew if we made any changes then, like, things can change at a moment's notice. Like, just a new thought comes into your head or whatever. Kairi's the current champion. And, like, if Shayna was still the champion, I'd be leaning a certain way because they already had a story built in. But Kairi's the champion, and assuming that they really want to go all in on Kairi and really build the division around. Yes.
Did you just say all in?
Oh, my God. You stopped me for that? Christ. So if they go all in on Kairi as champion and they build the division around her, it's really conflicting for me because Tony and Kairi do have history. It was Kairi that eliminated Tony in the semis last year.
Yep.
So they have history, and they have history in Stardom, which I know NXT would document, if they were able to get some rights or something, or just make it work somehow. And then you've got fucking Io.
Yeah.
And we already know, I don't know if you guys saw, on Twitter, Kyrie got tagged with Io at a live event. She tweeted a photo. Amazing. Like, the internet's collective head exploded. Specifically wrestling Twitter, of course. So I'm torn about who goes over here.
And I'm really not as torn as I probably should be, because I've been picking Io to win this goddamn thing since the moment I found out she was in it. And I even said from the moment I found out they were in it, Io versus Tony in the finals, Io wins the tournament. I'm sticking to my guns, brother.
Yeah, that's understandable. Fuck me. I really am, because if Shayna was still champion, I'd be going, again, just putting everything behind Tony. But she's not. And, you've got to think about, I'm like that meme that shows like the lady trying to figure out the math equation in her head, and it just gets more and more frustrating. And by extension, saddening, because it's like, oh my God, there's just
wait. Is this the meme that you're referring to? The one where the freaking Winona Ryder, when she and the rest of the cast of Stranger Things were accepting that award, and the guy that plays Hop just starts going off about how shitty society is, and she's just got this like, what on her face?
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
I love that. Winona Ryder is a national treasure, you guys.
Absolutely. So you know what? Without any more stalling, I think I'm going to make a last-minute shift. I originally had Tony winning the tournament, but I think I'm going to go in on Io winning. Because Io and Kyrie feuding, that could be the best feud that the NXT Women's Championship knows this year.
Dude, they can tell like KO versus Sammy, but with the women, because they're best friends, and Io would go full bitch heel and kick the shit out of Kyrie's pure ass.
And you know that because I adore Kyrie, it wouldn't be like Kevin and Sammy, where I'm like, yes, Kevin, break his fucking neck. I don't
God, that's right. You would actually have sympathy for the baby face. What is the world coming to?
Yeah, like this would be an amazing story that would even sucker me in. And this is the guy that Ashton once famously said, I'm so pro-minority when it comes to villains. I mean, so yeah, they can't pass this up, dude. They can't. Because I'll be honest, I enjoyed the Kyrie Shayna feud, but even after their third match, which you know how much like stock I put behind it, I could see why people were saying like, it was all right. I think people are still waiting for those phenomenal matches for the NXT Women's Championship. And if you want to get
because really the last one that we got was Asuka Ember 2.
Exactly. I would even say that Shayna Ember 2 was pretty fucking good.
I would say Shayna Ember 2 was good, and I would even go as far as to say very good, but I don't think it lives up to, Asuka Ember 2, Bayley Sasha 2, Sasha Becky, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly agree with you there, but I think if you want to get to that elite level where when you're filing out of the arena and you've either like just got a female friend or maybe it's your daughter or whatever, like they just won't shut up about this match. And I mean that in the most positive way.
Right, yeah.
You do it with Io and Kyrie. I have faith in these two women to be the ones to do it. So yeah, I just gotta go Io, man. And then
you're making a last minute switch and going with Io.
Because dude, here's the crazy thing, and I don't mean to sound all crap, but then again, given the things I've said on the history of the show, I pretty much have nothing left to lose. I just see before me just the whole feud laid out and just the matches they could have. And it's like, it's not just a preference for Io to win. It's almost imperative that she win. Because, like, she can win it at Evolution. And I don't know if the final would take place before or after the NXT Women's Championship. But if it's before, you have her, like, come out and greet Kyrie after her match. If it's after, have Kyrie come out, and do the same. And like you said with Sammy and Kevin, like Io may be so happy, but if you really wanted her to heal it up, take the Mae Young Classic trophy and break it over Kyrie's back. Like, make it as personal as you can immediately, and then let these women do the rest. This could be amazing. I mean, forget gender for a second. This could be one of the best storylines that WWE does all year with these two, if they do it.
And the thing is, I don't even know if the storyline would take place entirely within the confines of 2018, because the way things are looking right now, we might very well end up getting Kairi Shayna rematch for the title at Evolution, and then possibly Kairi Bianca at TakeOver War Games 2. And then we would have to save the winner of the NYC2 versus the champion for the next TakeOver before Royal Rumble in 2019.
Yeah. I actually really completely agree with you there. This is definitely not going to be contained just in this one year. It's definitely going to, I think, inform part of 2019.
Which might be for the best, because really, how much can you really compete with the Ciampa Gargano story as far as storyline of the year goes this year?
And then that's certainly true as well. I think if you're going to make a run for something like this, you want to have the cleanest possible slate with which to do it. Yeah. And yeah, so I'm picking Io. You've already established you're picking Io. I mean, you said it from the word go.
And dude, here's an interesting little fun fact as well. My mom filled out a bracket of her own, and she ended up with Io Tony in the finals, and she's also picking Io to win. So all three of us have the same finals and the same winner now.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. That's the TWitWoW bracketology.
I'm just looking at the semifinals. I'm not going to go through my mom's entire bracket. I'm just looking at the semifinals, though, and she has Mako, Tony, and Io in common with us. She actually has Rhea Ripley making it to the semifinals in that top right section. So very interesting the way that she kind of filled her bracket out. She's got Rhea versus Io in the semis on the right side of the bracket. But again, it all comes back to Io in the end. So very, very interesting to see how more of a casual viewer who's less familiar with these competitors is kind of viewing and taking the tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, that was the TWitWoW bracketology. Thank you all for coming out. Please leave a like if you haven't. And holy shit, we're just going just completely nuts for Io here, thinking she'll win the whole thing. So, Ashley, I'm going to hand the reins over to you to take us home.
Yeah, this show took almost exactly 1 hour, and now we get to close it out. All right, guys, this has been a whole lot of fun. I cannot wait for next week. And by the way, I actually wanted to talk to you about this before we went live, but I just didn't remember to. John, I wanted to ask you, would you like to live react to the Mae Young Classic episodes every Wednesday at 9 p.m. when they actually happen, and just push our Lucha Underground review back until the next following day, the Thursday?
You know, man, I think that could actually work this year, because I'm not as worried about Lucha Underground spoilers as I was like in past seasons. So if you'd want to do that, that's fine. I'll leave that up to you. You know, I'm very flexible, dude, with whatever you want to do.
Well, the way that we would basically do it is we would live react to Lucha Underground at 8 p.m. And then we would live react to the Mae Young Classic episode at 9 p.m. And then we would still get off and watch NXT and then review NXT at 11:30. But then the following day, we would get on here at maybe 5:30, maybe even 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and do our Lucha Underground review then at the day after. Maybe even get a rewatch of Lucha Underground in so that we can hear what everyone is saying in the meantime.
Yeah, dude, I think that works because, I mean, we're still doing live reactions, which is the main thing.
Yeah, and we're just going to have to worry about shifting gears immediately from LU to NYC during that 9 o'clock shift, where normally we would be shifting from LU reaction to the review. In this case, we're going to be switching from LU to NYC reactions. So we're still going to be in live reaction mode. We're just going to be shifting gears from LU to the NYC.
I don't see any problem with that because, I mean, we're keeping on top of the Lucha Underground content itself, through our live reactions. And then the review is just a bit later. I think the live reaction is the bread and butter anyway, personally.
Yeah.
So
I definitely see eye to eye with you on that. So I think that's what we're going to do throughout the entirety of the Mae Young Classic tournament. And the thing is, John, I'm pretty sure the Mae Young Classic finals happen to fall a week before Ultima Lucha 4 starts. So it works out perfectly.
Damn, like your face.
I figured this week was the episode 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it's actually really perfect because episode 20 of Lucha Underground, which is the last episode before Ultima Lucha Cuatro, is also the final episode of the Mae Young Classic that we're going to have to live react to, because then the following Sunday is Evolution, where the finals take place, and then the following Wednesday we won't have to worry about the NYC at all, and that's the first night of Ultima Lucha Cuatro. So it's perfect.
Love it. All right. There you have it, folks. And now, again, I'm going to leave it to Ashton to take us home.
Absolutely, guys. I am going to take us home. I'm going to take us home. But before we go home, we're going to go straight to the bank, because that's what this fucking tournament's going to be. Hell yeah. All right, guys. We're going to call it here. This has been so much fun. Leave a like if you enjoyed our bracketology. And then, of course, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Click that bell icon to join our notification squad. Follow us both on Twitter, like the Facebook, buy our merch on Teespring, donate to our Patreon, and of course, remember to share this video and this channel with all of your wrestling fan friends and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube wrestling community. We are the workhorses of the YWC, and this continued constant coverage of content that you care about is exactly what is proving our workhorse status. We will see you guys tomorrow evening for our August Q&A. I can't believe it's here already. August Q&A coming up tomorrow evening. And then next week, the NYC begins. But, of course, we're also going to be live reacting to SmackDown Live and 205 Live and Lucha Underground, all before that first episode of the NYC next Wednesday at 9 p.m. But no matter what, out of that whole list of things I just ran down, you're planning on staying around for, whether it's tomorrow night's Q&A or SmackDown or 205 or Lucha, or you're just here for NYC coverage, it doesn't matter, because all we need for you to do is to remember to stay tuned.